Hello, Tom LeMecchia here with the New Theory Podcast. And we have a very special guest today. And the name is Melvin Marsh, is it? Marsh?
Yes.
Melvin Marsh today on the show, joining us from Augusta, Georgia. Melvin does hypnotherapy, which I may or may not go under, depends. And we will talk a little bit about the business model of hypnotherapy. But Melvin's got an interesting background, which I'd like to discuss, because all of our entrepreneurs, or true entrepreneurs, have something that makes them special. That's what makes them entrepreneurs. So Melvin, give us your formative years. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Hollywood, Florida, which, if nobody is familiar with that area, it's kind of right near Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
I grew up, my parents were both in the media, so I grew up in front of a camera before most people had cameras, you know. In the early 80s, my family was the only household that had not only a VCR, but a computer and, ways to record things.
Okay.
So I kind of grew up in a TV station and a radio station. I had a relatively boring childhood, I suppose. My father was gone a lot. He actually worked frequently for NBC, CBS, all that stuff. He actually has an Emmy.
Oh, wow.
I still literally do not know how that happened, but he does. My family basically, encouraged me to go into theater and etc. My first paying gig was when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I did voiceover work for radio. A few years later, I basically made a better name for myself as a tutor, started doing math tutoring. Within a few years, now we're past my high school, went off to college. By the age of 20, I was the vice president of the company while still being in school and raising kids. Holy moly.
Wait. So you had children at that point?
I got married at 18.
You got married at 18 and you had a child?
I married somebody who already had 3.
Okay, so you married somebody.
Then actually had a 4th.
Oh, wow. So you had somebody who had 3, and then they had a 4th. So you're 20-something years old, early 20s.
But I had by 21 is when my daughter was born. I'm a female-to-male transsexual, so let's just get that out there right now.
Okay.
This was before I transitioned and got married to a guy. He had 3 kids. Then I got pregnant at 21. Like the year after, we started a company that was mostly consulting. I was still in school, double majoring and double minoring,
and
raising a family.
You were undergraduate. You were undergraduate full time.
I was undergraduate full time, double majored, double minored, full time work, basically 3/4 time work, and had 4 kids.
Wait, so hold on. So a few things. Okay, so you got married young. So you got married as a female to a male who had 3 kids before transferring, if that's the right word. Transitioning, rather, sorry, to a male, and then had a 4th kid, and then going to school and working as an entrepreneur. If I may ask, did your husband at the time, was he supportive of the transition?
Well, first of all, we're still married.
Okay.
I got married at 18. We're about to celebrate 18 years of marriage.
God bless.
We haven't killed each other yet, so that's always a positive sign. I was socially transitioning. I don't think he really cared about that, and he was the other person at the business, so he was the actual person who wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But I think he was more surprised that I ended up with a kid because we were both told we were sterile.
Wow.
Yeah, good luck with that. I call my daughter the miracle baby because she's like, you're not supposed to even exist, child. But yeah, and I gave birth to her in my last semester. I had to take summer because I was double majoring and double minoring. I graduated with some obscene amount of credits, still all within 4 years. When I had basically went back to school the next day or day after. She was born on Memorial Day. So I was back in school full time on that Wednesday. So it was kind of crazy.
And then did you get? I mean, you're an adult at this point, but did you get parental support about the transition?
No.
Okay. So now.
Oh my Lord, no.
Okay.
I actually did get disowned by my father for a while.
Ow.
My mother barely spoke to me. Basically, my family really, really does not. I'm not sure what bothers them more, that I transitioned to a different sex or converted to a different religion. I'm not sure which one bothers them more.
Which religion did you go from and to?
Roman Catholic to being Jewish.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Now,
actually, it was Roman Catholic to being Wiccan to being Jewish. They didn't like any of those options.
All right. So, but now we talked earlier offline, med school. So I just want to set this up. You started out kind of like a theater child. Your mom's, no offense, probably a stage mom. You come from the background, NBC.
Not really as bad as you'd think, as far as the stage mom goes.
Okay.
She was active in drama, but she could have been much worse.
Okay. We got support, right? And then you got married very young at 18.
Mm-hmm.
So
18 in 5 days. Let's get this right.
Okay,
I know it's down to the day.
Okay, so I'm assuming your husband's Jewish, correct? Because you converted.
My husband is not Jewish.
Oh, so you converted separately outside of that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So,
16 and a half years to get to the mikvah.
Okay.
My husband is not Jewish. My life would be so much easier if he was. Frank, if you're listening to this podcast, that's all I'm saying, hon.
Okay.
Not that I haven't already made that joke several times to him.
So we'll put that out there. Okay. So you're married young. Was that support? Like at that point, you're living a traditional life, right? You get married, meet a guy, you get married. Was that okay, or you were getting married too young from your support?
My mother was not in favor of the marriage. Both my parents actually was trying to get a restraining order against who is now my husband.
Jesus. Okay. So you
my mother wanted me to marry this other guy who actually had raped me. Because that's the Roman Catholic thing right there. I know, no offense to the Roman Catholics out there, but this is the way my family did it. It's like they were going to marry you off to the rapist.
Oh, shit.
The person I married was actually a friend of the aforementioned rapist, but was much chiller and actually would defend me and was not really big on forcing himself on anybody.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's a lot of depths here, but we had the theory, and don't get me wrong. This would probably make for much more interesting of a story, to be candid, and not to trivialize your experience, but you're giving us some really important stuff to talk about. However, we generally focus on the personal to see how it leads into your business life, right? So we're in the early 20s. You're married. You have some children. But med school. Where did med school come from?
Med school came out in a whole different set of situations. I went off to my undergrad was in biological anthropology and medieval studies. It has nothing to do with anything. I went off to go to graduate school. I got a master's in what is effectively astronomy.
Okay.
And then I ended up as a technology transfer consultant, which was a job I hated. And if anybody worked at that company and remembers my name, they will acknowledge that it was a really bad company to work for. No offense if you're listening to that, because there are people. Everybody there was basically my age or younger. So at that point, I was also transitioning more. Had socially transitioned. That was actually the first place that was okay with me being trans at all. The CEO actually previously had been living as a woman. No longer was, but had that history. When I left that job, which was just ridiculous amounts of stress, it was not worth the money. That I don't care if you're paying me $200 an hour. It's not worth that type of stress.
Okay.
I had this experience where several of my trans friends were all getting sick at the same time. One of them ended up with this bad throat problem. It ended up being throat cancer.
Whoa.
By the time somebody actually saw her, because they didn't want to deal with her because she was transsexual, she died the next week because it was already stage 4. And they were like, "You're not gonna. Let's be real. You're not gonna live." But she wanted to fight it out, and that it didn't work out well. She died literally right after coming back from chemo.
So wait, hold on. So this was an influencing point or teachable moment. At that point, because you're living the life you want to live, despite a lot of barriers, right? And big things, gender, religion, marital status. So like at this point, you're proving that you want to live or fought hard to live the life you want to live. We can agree on that, right?
Yeah, we can.
So what was the next step? Believe it or not, I am most fascinated by the fact that you got into med school after doing all this other stuff. So where did med school come in?
I'm a masochist. I think that should also be noted on your podcast. But yeah, after dealing with Tracy's death, and I was actually trying to get over a medical phobia. Medical phobia, people.
Ironically,
which I got mostly from being transsexual. I was treated so badly when I was pregnant that I ended up with a phobia. Wow. You couldn't say the word hospital around me. It just wasn't going to happen.
Wow.
And I was trying to work on that because I was transitioning. I needed medical support. I had actually had my top surgery done because it was that or basically do it myself, and that would not have ended well for me.
Now, top surgery, you go to a plastic surgeon or a general surgeon for that?
No, you go to a plastic surgeon. That's the best option. Yeah. You tend to get a much better result because they're trying to make it look pretty.
Yeah.
And so, I'm actually friends with my plastic surgeon. He's a pretty cool dude. So if anybody ever needs one and is in Georgia, I can make a referral to somebody who's pretty chill.
Okay.
He was also one of the few people that congratulated me after I converted to Judaism. So good for him. I was dealing with this, and Tracy's death really ticked me off, as it would anybody. And I had another friend who also almost died within just a few months after Tracy passed from cancer.
Jesus.
Yeah, and another trans person who almost lost both of her legs because she was in like San Francisco. Wow. And like if a trans person can't get help in like out in that area,
yeah, I was gonna. Well, because you're kind of hanging out in the South, right, for the most part, which I'm going to generalize. So I'm just going to generalize, which may not be as accepting of some of your endeavors. So when you say San Fran and still having some challenges, that's pretty troublesome.
Yeah, that really is. And this was back. I think that one had issues in 2010. Okay, so that's not terribly long ago. And Tracy passed in like 2009 or something. Because it was right as I was dealing with medical phobia. I had just started working in a hospital.
Okay.
So I did basically that type of stress, and that gave me a reason to move. I went back to school after already completing 2 bachelor's and a master's. Went through the entire pre-med curriculum. Applied to medical school 4 times.
Wait, you started back for pre-med curriculum undergraduate?
Yeah, they took what I could do. So I had to take another 60 hours of stuff so I could be competitive for medical school.
Wow.
I took the MCAT, which is the admissions test,
correct,
3 times.
Yeah.
Applied 4 times to school. Got in off a wait list. Got harassed from the first day I got there, and got sexually assaulted in medical school. Got beaten up on the campus.
Which med school?
Let's just say that I'm in Augusta, Georgia. Y'all can figure it out.
So
there's only one in this area.
So you fought really hard to get into med school. Did you want to get into this med school? Because like, why not?
Actually, really, to be honest, this was like my when I had the very first run when I had 30 medical schools I was applying to. This was my number 2. Over time, it became my number 1. So this was literally the one I wanted to be in.
So you got accepted, and you had a ton of challenges. I don't mean to minimize, but in the interest of time, a ton of challenges.
And so then I got harassed. Ended up having to be forced to leave medical school. Luckily, I had a therapist who said because I had to go on a leave of absence after the sexual assault, and the post-traumatic stress.
Wait, hold on real quick. I want to be blunt for a second. I'm going to be pretty blunt, which I am. We're doing, folks. We're doing an audio recording here, right? But Melvin and I are doing a video Skype. I'm looking at you, right? And maybe you look different now. I see a male. So I'm not. I'm just shooting straight. I see a male. So
no, I had a beard at one point.
Okay, so like
didn't matter because I'm still ma'amed very frequently. The voice sometimes gives people away. In the other room, which you don't see, is actually a friend of mine. The only person in in the medical school class that actually came in and actually helped me a little bit after the assault. And she says the same thing. She's like, I can't believe you ever were having these issues. But it was very, I also then got my house robbed right after the assault.
But these are med students. I'm going to hell because I'm going to generalize. But med schools are like overseas folks, super educated WASPs, refined Jews. Like I'm just shooting straight. Like these are the people that got beat up in high school. Like I'm confused.
Well, the people that actually went to a public high school probably did. A lot of them are private. A lot of them are very, very wealthy. They had no. I'll be honest. A lot of them have no concept of what's different from them. They've never met somebody who's mixed race. Which, by the way, I am actually mixed race. You probably can't tell that, but I actually am. I'm triracial. Some people have never met a gay person prior to this. Prior to meeting me, I identify as a gay transsexual. Nobody had ever met a trans person. Nobody had ever met a gay person. A few people said they'd never met a Jew.
So wait. We got to take an inventory. Melvin, we got to take an inventory here.
Okay.
Really quick. You are a female to male transsexual.
Yes.
Who is biracial.
Right. Technically.
Yeah. Triracial. Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
From the South, and then attended school in Georgia.
Yeah, I feel bad for me. I also have degrees from North Dakota too. If you want to really add to that inventory, I'm also disabled. I have epilepsy and autism.
Wow.
So I have the odds stacked against me, and no matter what I do. But
here's the thing. I don't want to. I'm going to be wrong I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be wrong, and we don't have a ton of listeners. I don't want to tell you. 800,000 people are listening, but we'll probably get on the low end 500 as much as 2,500. So I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. I'm going to let you know now. Considering your inventory of characteristics. And I know med school is hard to get into. Wouldn't Georgia not be one of the greatest places to go? I'm not beating up on it. I'm just.
I literally applied nationwide.
Got it. Okay.
So I even applied internationally.
But
I applied to Caribbean schools who basically you have to have a pulse to get into.
Correct. I was in Barbados. I know DR. They wouldn't take you.
I applied MD, DO. My DOs, the DO schools, I got one interview at, and they were disrespectful to being trans the second I got in.
But if you don't mind me asking, you're filling out a form, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to identify with what you identify as.
I have to legally identify with whatever they ask. If they say it goes on your if it goes based on your passport, I can put down male. If it goes down on my driver's license, I'm legally required to put down female.
But on applications, it says male, female.
It doesn't. It says it asks you to put information down on your license or passport. I have a birth certificate that's female, a driver's license that's female. The fact that I identify as male is irrelevant, and I only recently got a passport that says I'm male.
Holy shit! Now, but are there? I'm making this up because I don't know. Stanford, whoever. There's not known liberal medical schools that would look at you, not because you're transsexual, but look at, God forbid, your body of work.
I applied.
Got it. And the bottom line is Georgia.
The answer was no.
So the bottom line is Georgia accepted you. You got the shit kicked out of you, let's be honest. And they just were not good people, the people that were bad to you. But I'm assuming you met some...
Let's be real. The curriculum and the buildings and such at the school are great. It's a lot of the people that are crappy. But the education that I would have walked out with would have been top notch. There is no doubt about that.
Now, Melvin, did you? It's gonna give a friend in the other room. Did you make some friends? Do you have any champions there? Did you have people? One. Okay, so that's rough. Okay, so it's
She's
fair.
in the other room.
Okay,
making sure my dogs don't bark during the podcast.
Okay, well if they could come over,
she can hear every word.
Well, if they could come over here and help me with my cats. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, she'd love to.
Beautiful.
She wants pets, but the medical school, she stays on campus.
Got it.
And the school won't let her have any pets, so she comes over and borrows mine.
All right. So, wow. Okay, we're 20 minutes into it. Usually at this point we're wrapped up 10 minutes ago, but okay. So let's fast forward. So you leave medical school, correct?
I do leave medical school. Luckily, one of the therapists that was helping me through the sexual assault said that, and knew all the stuff that was going on with medical school, said, you need to have a backup plan. And I had already been seeing a hypnotherapist on my own because I had a really bad anxiety problem. Nothing was working because every 5 seconds I was hearing that, basically effectively seeing the person who raped me go by. I was on the edge constantly. So I had a hypnotherapist that was working on my anxiety. And my other one, my normal therapist, normal being a relative term, was like, you need a backup plan. And we went, my husband came down to Augusta. He doesn't live here normally. And we went to counseling because I dragged him back. I really wanted my therapist to meet him to see get his opinion. That particular therapist informed him that he was going to pay for my hypnotherapy education, to which I looked at Adrian, who was the therapist, and looked at him as though he was a space alien. And then I said, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. So when my loans dispersed, I enrolled in Hypnosis Motivation Institute's advanced training. I'd already done well in their basic, which I did when I was on leave. And when I left medical school for good, I just put everything into that. I completed a 1-year program in about 2.5 months. I got all my clinical hours done in 3 months, which is really, really ridiculous. And I've been basically private practice since then. I graduated in December. I got my certification in March, and my practice has been coming and going since December. And normally I do book several days out. Okay,
hold on. This is important. Okay, so you started is what is called after hours hypnotherapy.
Hypnotherapy. Yep. I focus mostly on the people who. This was actually inspired by my own hypnotherapist. I always had to compete from his 7 o'clock spot because if you're in medical school from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you're booked. Correct. You are not getting anywhere. Correct. You're not going to go to the doctor. Correct. Too bad, so sad. You're in trouble no matter what.
Yeah.
So I figured, if I'm having this problem and I'm just a medical student, well, that means a lot of other business people probably have the same thing too. So I do Sunday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., So yeah, you can book me for a normal normal time, but you can also do an after hours thing or on a day that's completely open for most people.
Okay.
And I do abbreviated, I do 4 hours that I'm open on Friday from 10 a.m. to 2, and I do after sunset on Saturdays because I'm an observant Jew, so I don't work on Shabbat.
Okay, hold on. So you hang up your shingle, you're a hypnotherapist. Is it all in person, or you can do it online?
I can do it online. As a matter of fact, the majority of mine are actually virtual. I can use the phone, I can use Skype, and I can use Zoom, which is actually HIPAA compliant. So while the average hypnotherapist really doesn't have to worry about HIPAA, I actually do have an EMT license as well. So HIPAA is closer to being at the forefront of my mind
Correct.
than I was just sitting there smiling. You guys
like all these things happening, and you took the time to become an EMT. I fucking love it. Keep going.
Well, I actually was briefly working at the local ambulance service after I got after I got out of medical school. That's fun, by the way. By fun, I mean not so much fun. You get paid $10 an hour and you get treated really, really badly.
It's a labor of love, yeah.
It really is, but you have to like it. If you don't like it, too bad, because you ain't gonna make it.
True. All right, so hold on. Let's get to the entrepreneurial touch points. So you went through a whole bunch of adversity. You went to school for hypnotherapy. You hung a shingle. Do you get clients via outbound, meaning do you reach out to you network yourself, or do you do inbound like SEO, marketing, PR?
All of the above.
Okay, what's working?
Let's see. I do know a lot of people are getting me off of Google, which is great. Okay. So that's some of the SEO. I've done some marketing. I actually use a barter exchange site called Simbi, and that's actually how I got my hours. But I reached out, and people were interested in hypnotherapy. Because I was charging on this site, which is barter. So you get the hours, you get experience, and now you can say, by the way, if you like, can you refer some paying people to?
As an entrepreneur, what some of the services did you barter for?
Okay, I literally have a whole thing that I needed. I got all my marketing done, all my graphic design done, my website. I'm not sure if you've seen it. Almost all of that was flipped. It went from GeoCities 1994 to something that's mostly together. It's mostly completed. Looks pretty decent. There are a few things I still need to add, but you can go to afterhourshypnotherapy.com and you can see what I bartered for. I get advice on YouTube. I've got some people that are doing all my legal paperwork for me that I didn't want to do. You name it, I have basically gotten this. I'm actually now known on Simbi as being part of the ruling class because I've done so many exchanges that I even have a service up called How to Basically Use Simbi to Help Your Business.
This actually is a nice site, especially for bartering. Because I don't like the barter. I'll tell you why. Because the best website guy usually doesn't barter. I'm just being honest with you. That's why I don't barter, right? However, I think you got lucky here. So you bartered your way to get the experience, and then that barter ecosystem, if you will, let's call it 10 people, could have been less, could have been more. They started referring into you, correct?
Oh, some of them did. If you ever go do a search on my Yelp, or look me up on Yelp or Google or whatnot, almost all of those reviews are originally from that site, and because I was like, hey, if you like what you experience, please do send other people my way. That alone has driven stuff.
You know what's funny? We have a lot of entrepreneurs that are different parts of the cycle, but many are in the beginning or before they hit that arc, right? Because let's be really honest, if they were super big, it'd be harder for me to get. But I do have the people that are just starting out to the people that made millions on podcasting alone, which I want to get there, right?
I'm eventually going to get there too, because that's another thing that I've actually bartered for information on that. I just don't have the time to do stuff.
Yeah. No, that's understood. So what I'm getting at is okay. So now you have a diverse background. Are you going by a specific targeting group? For example, are you targeting hypnotherapy for LGBT, for Jewish people, for people in the South?
I do have a thing on my list, because that's actually what one of my my hypnotherapist was pushing. It's like, do trans hypnosis. The difference between dealing with LGBT people and somebody who isn't LGBT, transsexual, as far as in hypnosis, the difference is very, very little. It's all cultural competency. That's the only difference that there is. So if you go on my website, there is a section LGBT stuff, but that's mostly because I'm culturally competent in it. And there are people that do want to go to me because if we're doing inner child work, I'm going to ask the appropriate questions before we delve into it. If we're doing inner child work, I want to throw you a curveball. How to address the child.
I want to throw you a curveball. Which I probably know the answer to. But once somebody comes to you and wants to use it, and I'm talking, these are people that the patient is okay with, the parents they're okay with it. So I'm going to preface that. Somebody comes to you with conversion therapy and they want to use hypnotherapy, and if for some reason they want to come to you, would you turn that patient away, or would you?
I would literally. First of all, I would actually teach them how to relax, and then I actually would probably see if there was somebody else that they could do that, because I would primarily be the person to say, look, you're coming to an LGBT specialist. I'm a gay trans person who is very, very out. I mean, I cannot ethically go in there and try to change you, because first of all, nobody can change them. I cannot change you. You are changing yourself. Now, if you want to no longer be trans and you think hypnosis is going to do it, good for you. I'm not going to deal with that one. That opens me up to a lot of legal problems. And I don't believe that conversion therapy is necessary. It's not ethical. You're just, and it's just ridiculous. Well, and I will not do that if they're going to.
I don't mean to cut you off because we're in interest of time, but that was a good answer, because you could be like flat out no and be like, rah, or you'd be like, yes, give me the money, who gives a shit, I'll take your money because I don't believe in it. But I like your answer, because you say, listen, it's not my cup of tea, it's not my best area of practice. If you believe in this, which I don't agree with, there might be somebody better off. So I like that. So how are you growing your business? Okay, let's walk through the numbers. What do you charge per hour?
I charge $150 an hour if you're in person. I charge slightly less if you are on Skype. Because I actually run my business out of my house, so as I have joked to people, I charge you if I have to put on things that aren't pajama bottoms. So it's the pants tax, for a past life regression, that's about 90 minutes. That's about $250. I also do handwriting analysis. You can become a member of my practice, and which will give you additional benefits. Like you can do an emergency 48-hour appointment. And there is that possibility too. That's $150 per month, but you get a lot more benefits. I also am if you have a sports team, you can actually hire me out, and like if, let's say you're football, okay, you hire me, and on the retainer, I will literally not work with any other football team except for yours for that season. So there's that possibility as well.
Okay, so hold on. I want to make sure I observe this correctly. Now, what's your paying model? Are you in-network, out-of-network, where they can submit the bill to my insurance?
I'm cash only. There is no insurance will very rarely pay for hypnotherapy unless you have basically a PhD. I have a master's, but it's not in anything that insurance will pay for. Plus, when my hypnotherapist got $40 every time I saw him, because I had insurance. No. That was what it was. I get $150 for not taking insurance. And people do show up and do pay for it. Plus, insurance doesn't always want to cover stuff like stop smoking, improve confidence, weight loss. They actually don't want to cover it. So I can go in and I can handle the issue. The insurance won't cover it in the first place.
Okay, your price point.
Pay my paperwork to the insurance to see if they will reimburse. That's great. I'm happy to submit that. They're happy to give it to them, but I'm pretty much cash only.
Got it. So you're a little expensive though. So
actually, I'm about average price. The going rate in hypnosis is about actually because I'm new. That 150 is about where you start. I am part of a union that states 125 is the lowest you go.
Okay. Now, how do you scale? Do you want to keep this a small business? And that's okay. You might want to keep it a small business, be successful, or do you envision having 20 centers in 20 years? What's your plan? Do you want to scale?
I'm intending to stay relatively small, because the bigger you get, the more impersonal it gets, and the less hypnosis will tend to work. I'm happy to do classes, but right now my classes, my group sessions are limited to about 5 people. Okay. I want to make sure that these people get whatever they need and can go on with their life. I don't want to keep people jerking around. I do have hypnotherapists that if I'm gone for some period and I have a premium patient that's coming in and needs someone in 48 hours, I already have some relationships of they're gonna cover that patient. Like if I'm out of the country doing a seminar, they're gonna cover it so that I don't have to.
Got it. Okay. How can we find you?
How can you find me? I'm pretty easy to find across everywhere. Facebook, After Hours Hypnotherapy. Twitter, Mel S. Marsh. So that's my first nickname, Mel. Middle initial, S. Marsh, last name. That's on Twitter. On LinkedIn, all you have to do is search for After Hours Hypnotherapy. My website, afterhourshypnotherapy.com. LinkedIn, you can search my name. I'll pop up. I'm literally the easiest person in the history of easy people to find. So, you can literally find me anywhere at any time. I'm a true child of the information age.
And Melvin, you kind of covered it, but if you can re-establish, what are top 3 things that you treat?
My top 3 tends to be stuff like anxiety, pain / general medical hypnosis. I also do a lot of past life regression, but I am qualified to do everything. Just my favorites are anxiety. I see that's probably 75% of what I see. And they're also the most grateful patients ever in the history of ever. I love my medical hypnosis because it allows me to be an EMT because I already have that license. I can do I've done childbirth. I've done pre-surgery. So
now you're doing a lot of podcasts. Is it more of a PR play and like you're loving it, getting a PR and putting it on your website? Like, wow, you're a New Theory podcast, great. Or is the phone ringing because of the podcast?
I have a little bit of both.
Okay.
So I have a few people that actively came out to me and said, "Hey, can I borrow you for a couple hours?" Sure, why not? This does help with my publicity, certainly, but it ends up being a little bit of both. About 25% of the podcast I do, somebody actually has dropped me an email because I'm so easy to find. After Hours Hypnotherapy at gmail.com. Trust me, that goes directly to me.
Love it.
But that's about 25% or so.
Love it. Well, listen, that is Melvin Marsh. Melvin, thank you for sharing your story of bravery. One of bravery is just a word, but we look at the entrepreneurial aspect, and from the entrepreneurial aspect, despite a lot of these challenges, you still have a business. You have a thriving business. You're educated in the space, and you're offering a service to help people, and you're also making money doing it. I will tell you this, though, as an entrepreneur, a fellow entrepreneur, if you can maybe go online with it, you definitely have an opportunity to scale here if done correctly.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I am currently doing Skype. I work about 70 hours a week right now.
Nice.
I actually see the paying clients. I do a few talks here and there. That's going to be my next major push. Classes they just started up this month. So I work about 70 hours a week, and it's not too shabby. Just the pay varies.
I absolutely love it. Well, that is Melvin Marsh here at New Theory Podcast signing off. And Melvin, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much.